Why did I volunteer to take tonight's watch? I'm bloody exhausted. And I know many other soldiers who wish to impress the royal family more than I do. I've already managed to make a pretty bad impression back when I first was given this mission. If it hadn't been for my previous missions, they would have probably chopped off my head right then and there. It is a beautiful night, though. Clear skies as far as the eye can see. Millions of stars illuminating this darkness.
What was that? Reveal yourself. I'm armed, and I don't need to see you to strike you with my arrows. Now reveal yourself before I make you. Your Highness, what are you doing outside of your tent? It isn't safe here. You should be with your guards. You what? It isn't a big deal. You snuck out without telling anyone to go explore the surrounding woods. Have you any idea how dangerous that is? Hang on, let me answer that question for you. Of course you don't. You've never even been outside the castle walls. You haven't got the slightest clue of what hides in the darkness, do you? And this is why we're losing the war. Your family don't know what they're up against because you've all spent your entire lives locked up in safety, giving out idiotic orders that get my men killed. I have no idea why the people don't just... I'm sorry. I should not have said that. It was completely out of line. Please forgive me, Your Highness. If I tell you what's out there, I'm not completely sure that is proper for me to do. It's not pretty. All right. I will tell you. But your father must not know who told you. I'm not exactly in his good graces, so to say. Do you promise? All right. I hope you don't easily get nightmares. We don't know where they came from or when they first started appearing. The only thing that's for certain is that 50 years ago, they almost wiped out the entire human population living outside of the cities, seemingly wanting nothing but to feed. And what is their favorite meal? Raw human flesh, torn from a still living person. They seem to prefer the dense forest and don't come close to the cities. But we need the forest for food. When the massacre of 1483 happened, millions fled to the capital. The king was completely caught off guard. He knew that the capital could barely feed its citizens as it was. So in order to force the refugees back, he created a tax for anyone who wanted to settle in the capital. The tax was so high, none of the farmers, hunters, or anyone else living off nature could afford. And so the creatures could keep killing. The king made a half-assed attempt to stop the creatures by putting together a special unit to fight them. But I'm sure you've seen all the empty old farms and cottages we've passed on our journey. I would have thought you'd have realized it by now. The king back then decided to lock in everyone in the royal castle. Nobody came in, nobody left. You're the first from the royal bloodline who has left the castle and capital in 50 years. You want to hear more of the creatures? Well, they are human-like, but taller, with longer legs and arms. Giant horns atop their heads and yellow eyes that shimmer at night. They hunt by imitating your loved ones' voices, desperately calling out for help. Don't worry, Highness. It is still far away. You needn't worry, lest the scream is so far away you can barely hear it. That's when the creature is ready for the kill. standing right behind you. Are you afraid? You're shaking. Don't worry, Your Highness. Nothing will happen to you. I swear on my life that I shall protect you. But if you sneak off again and I get to hear of it, the creatures should be the least of your concerns. Understood? Good. I suppose it's a little bit cold. Here, take my cloak. Don't worry about me. I don't mind the cold. May I ask you a question? If you spent your entire life inside the castle, what did you do all those years? It must have gotten terribly boring. You don't say. Any books I might have heard of? No, it doesn't ring a bell. Oh yeah, I've read that one. What did you think? I really like it. The storytelling was phenomenal. I especially love the final reveal. Like, who could have seen that coming? Did you have any friends up at the castle? Like the attendants or something? You weren't allowed to talk to them. But you don't have any siblings or cousins, right? Must have been lonely. You might say that. I grew up with 7 brothers and 5 sisters. When we played tag, inside the house would be in ruins for days afterwards. We weren't allowed to play outside. Too risky. That? You heard about the incident with the royal king and queen. It was nothing. Just a minor misunderstanding. The floor was slippery, all right? Someone had just polished it and my boots slipped when I was introducing myself to your mother. Felt like a complete fool. Yes, that might have happened as well. I may have accidentally dragged your mother along with me so that she landed in a nearby desert. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest that he wanted me executed. You? You were the one who convinced him not to. Why? So that you could steal my hat? That's where it disappeared to? I take back everything I've ever said about you at the taverns. You are not a spoiled brat who is completely oblivious about the world around you. You are a thieving little brat who is completely oblivious about the world around you. Of course I won't tell your father about it. I owe you my life. Besides, I actually think I'm starting to like you, Your Highness. Highness, I need you to do me another favor. Now. Run back to your tent and ask one of your guards to wake my men. It seems like we have company.